Welcome to the Glen Mercer Show, where we talk all things vegan. If you're not already vegan, no worries, we'll get you there. If you are, tune in for health advice, information on climate change, and all the damage done by our most destructive industry, animal agriculture. We'll also talk cooking, theater, film, and culture. My 2 reasons for starting this podcast: to entertain, to inform, and to make people vegan. Oh, that's 3. Shit. Welcome to the Glen Mercer Show. You could find us across all your favorite podcast platforms. You could find us on YouTube, and please remember to subscribe. And you could find us at realmeneatplants.com. I'm looking forward to getting to know our guest today. He is known sometimes as YaBonks, but his name is Alex Walsh. He is a YouTuber. He's a crypto educator. And Alex, we're going to get to that later because you've got to educate me on this. He is an animal sanctuary owner. He's a software engineer. He is a bodybuilder. I would be too, but I have a hernia. And he's an entrepreneur. So, Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Glenn. I really appreciate you bringing me on your show. It's a great honor. I love your show, and I've seen quite a few episodes with many of your distinguished guests, and I am grateful to be here.
Well, you are joining that very honored list, my friend.
Thank you so much.
You are a vegan.
Yes, I am a vegan.
And you started an animal sanctuary. And you're a crypto guy.
Yes.
Let's try to put this together, and later you'll explain crypto to me. When did you become a vegan?
I became a vegan about 11 years ago now. So when I was 25 years old, and I'm 36 now. So 11 years.
Yeah, 36.
I think you've got me beat.
Yeah.
How many years have you been?
36 is getting pretty old.
How many years have you been vegan?
I've been vegan since around when you were born. I heard you were born 36 years ago, and I said, that's it, I'm going vegan.
Hey, at least I had a good impact on the world in some way.
Yes.
Well, that's amazing. That's incredible, really.
So what brought you into the light here to become vegan?
Well, I guess I was influenced by a friend of mine at the time. His name is Ethan, and we were workout buddies. We were running long distance running together and lifting weights, and he was gaining progress on me very quickly, and I was trying to understand what he was doing differently than me. And he just said, I only eat plants. At the time, that didn't mean anything to me. I didn't understand. I didn't know what veganism was. My sister, Emily, she grew up vegetarian, and we always kind of made fun of her for it and stuff, but like it never really meant anything to me. I never actually thought about it. Once my friend Ethan, who I saw him progressing quickly athletically, I was like, sure, I'll try it. Why not? Maybe maybe I'll progress fast like you too. I went vegan for a few days, and as part of this, he showed me a couple documentaries just to like help educate me. He showed me Vegucated and Earthlings. And as soon as I saw Earthlings, I went vegan forever overnight. As soon as I saw that movie, I told myself I never want to take part in anything that causes suffering to animals like that as much as I possibly can. So to the best of my ability, if I can abstain from anything that causes that suffering, I will. Obviously, none of us are perfect, and there are always ways that we don't think about that might have effects, but consciously, to the best of my ability, if I can avoid that stuff, I do, and I never looked back after that.
So when you went vegan, did you know what to eat?
No,
how did your diet evolve?
So I started out just doing the stereotypical vegetables and hummus. Because that's what I heard jokes like, oh, vegans eat a lot of hummus. So I jumped on the hummus train, which was great. Hummus is delicious. And I ate a lot of vegetables and produce. I was doing smoothies. Eventually, I settled into a rhythm that really seemed to jive well with my body, which was rice, beans, lentils, vegetables, fruit, and a small amount of seeds or nuts.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's what your diet is like now?
It is, except I have tweaked it slightly with some lean, higher protein sources like tofu, tempeh, TVP, seitan, things like that, depending on my particular diet regimen and bodybuilding goals.
Right. Now you do a lot of bodybuilding, and on
Yes.
your Instagram account, people can see those pictures. I'm
Yes.
going to challenge you to an arm wrestle next time I see you. Um,
Okay.
but it has to be post hernia surgery.
All right, deal. You're on.
Okay. So tell us how you got the name YaBonks.
Okay, great question. I get asked this all the time. So, for those who don't know, my YouTube channel name is called YaBonks, YaBonks. And Bonks was the nickname of one of the first animals I ever rescued, a goose named Godric, and his nickname is Bonks. I have a crocheted likeness of him here by one of my very special YouTube fans who crocheted this. They love Godric. They love Bonks. They even put a name tag on him that says Bonks, and on the other side it says Godric. So this was sent by Wild Angel, one of my YouTube fans and supporters. Thank you, Wild Angel. But that's where my name came from. This goose that we rescued, named Godric, aka Bonks, was what was on the top of my mind when I was trying to decide what to name my YouTube channel. Bonks was taken, so I'm like, how about YaBonks? That was available. So I created the YouTube account called YaBonks, started posting crypto educational content. Next thing I know, my YouTube channel takes off, and now I'm stuck with the name YaBonks 4 years later, and I'm just rolling with it.
Do a lot of your friends call you YaBonks?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends online now. This day and age, we meet a lot of people through social media, and a lot of people that I end up meeting in the fitness scene, the vegan space, the crypto space, they have already seen some of my content, so they already know me as YaBonks when they meet me. So they'll call me YaBonks, and I'm just, I guess, used to it now.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, I've noticed that the baseball cap is part of your look, so I'm wearing mine in your honor.
I love it. Thank you.
Um, what about the software engineering? You started out as a software engineer. Do you do any of that anymore?
I do, yes. So I have been a software engineer uh, professionally for over 15 years, and I have a computer science and engineering degree from the University of Toledo. Right out of college, I jumped into the corporate world as a software engineer. I've worked for multiple industries, healthcare, finance, telecom. I've written all sorts of interesting software applications, and I've always done it on the side as well, freelance as a contractor to make some extra money. And I still do my freelance software development contracting work to just keep my skills sharp and bring in extra money. The pay is great. I'm really good at it. So there's always demand for it. And if I can keep, a couple hours of that a week in my regimen, it helps me support the sanctuary and keeps my skills sharp. So I always have those opportunities.
All right, let's talk about this sanctuary. It's called Karma Farm Sanctuary. It's
Yes.
in Florida. What town in Florida?
So Karma Farm Sanctuary is in Micanopy, Florida. Micanopy. Micanopy, Florida. It's a Seminole chieftain's name. It's a tiny town of about 600 people. It's had about 600 people for the last 50 years. It doesn't seem to ever change. It's very quaint. If you've ever seen the movie I think it's Doc Hollywood
Yeah.
with um
That with Michael
Michael
J. Fox?
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
That movie was recorded in Micanopy, and that we have one downtown road. It's just old antique buildings, and it's very quaint and picturesque. That's where that whole movie was filmed. And that is where the sanctuary is. It's about 20 minutes south of Gainesville, Florida, smack dab in Central Florida.
So if it's got 600 people, how many animals does it now have at the Karma Farm Sanctuary?
About 30 extra animals, thanks to us. At
30
any time,
animals.
we have about 30 animals that call it their forever home, and it fluctuates and slowly increases year after year as we build out more infrastructure.
Okay, so total population of the town, 630.
Yes, that's
Um,
right. That's right.
so what kinds of animals do you have on your sanctuary?
Right now, we have dogs, cats, goats, pigs, geese, ducks, and chickens. So quite a few
Okay.
species, and we're involved with rescues of many other species, but those are the ones we have currently at the sanctuary. So we've assisted with cow and steer rescues. We've assisted with horse and donkey rescues and things of like that. A lot of those ones go to other sanctuaries that have the infrastructure in place for handling those larger animals. We just assist with those rescues when we can. And at the sanctuary, at Karma Farm Sanctuary, we have goats, pigs, geese, ducks, and chickens right now. Yeah. Oh, and dogs and cats.
All right, so you have a friend who's an athlete. He's plant-based. He inspires you to go plant-based. You see the documentary Earthlings, then you're vegan, and now you got a farm sanctuary.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stop. This is a lifelong journey for you now, huh?
It's snowballing, it seems. It's only speeding up. And I plan to just go full bore with this thing as long as I can, and grow it to be part of my legacy for whenever I retire from this earth. I want Karma Farm Sanctuary to be well funded enough to operate in perpetuity after I'm gone and be able to maintain a board of directors and a team of volunteers long after I'm gone.
All right. Well, you're not going to be gone anytime soon. You're 36.
Hopefully, I've
Uh,
got a while.
now you have a friend named John Thomas, the bodybuilding vegan.
Yeah, that's my best friend, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so, are there a number of bodybuilding vegans in Florida? I know Jeff Palmer is another one.
There are a few. So it's a growing trend, it seems. And Tampa, Florida, for instance, is a hub for bodybuilding. Like last year's Mr. Olympia, Derek Lunsford, he's in the Tampa area, and I've actually worked out with him at a gym in Tampa. So that was really cool. He's top bodybuilder in the world at that time, and I got to work out with him. So yeah, Florida and Tampa area, especially big bodybuilding hubs, and the vegan thing really is spreading, especially with people like John Thomas, the bodybuilding vegan out there, Brooke, Miss Meatless Muscle, Robert Cheek, who
Yeah.
he's one of the ones who influenced me early on when there wasn't much information on this stuff 10 years ago. I found his information and his website, and it showed me that it's possible. It can be done. And I actually got to meet him in 2017 at the Animal Rights Conference when I was a baby vegan. And I was like, oh my God, Robert Cheek, I'm a huge fan. I want to be just like you someday. I want to get big and strong as a vegan. And he's like, you can do it, man. He gave me a great motivational speech in a parking lot. Super nice guy. I was a total stranger to him, and we're friends now to this day. And he's a big supporter of our sanctuary and a lot of the stuff we're doing. So it's just a wonderful community. The vegan space and the bodybuilding space. It's full of great people like that.
Now, have you reached a limit that you could lift as much weight as you want to be able to lift, or are you trying to be able to lift even more?
I'm always trying to push the limits. So,
How much do
uh,
you bench press now?
good question. I I don't know. So I have a hand injury that
Uh,
prevents me from maxing out on bench press. It's a tendon injury. So, I don't do much. I guess I would say ego lifting, where I'm just seeing how much weight I can lift. I'm very strict with my form, and I, yeah. So I don't even push the weights that heavy, really.
mhm.
I focus more on volume and specific reps and sets that um, have the most hypertrophy, so muscle growth activity versus just pure strength gains. Now, strength gains have come over time. I've been doing this for 10 years now, and slowly I've gotten stronger on a lot of these exercises. But for most of those years, I was lifting at home with just a set of dumbbells and a pull-up bar on my door frame, just doing push-ups and then holding dumbbells and doing squats, bicep curls, doing pull-ups on the bar. Only recently did I get my first gym membership, surprisingly. So mostly I've just been doing at-home workouts, like, I don't know, prison style workouts at home. And now I've got access to all these fancy machines, and I'm trying to get my form perfected on those before I start pushing the weights up heavy.
How long are your workouts?
Between 45 minutes and an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes at most. I try not to go past that because I feel it's counterproductive to my overall fatigue levels and
Hmm.
recovery. Mhm. I
So,
also I also like long distance running, so that's kind of counterproductive to pure mass gaining, if you will. So I kind of a hybrid athlete where I balance trying to enjoy my long distance running, which I love for my mental health, and running along the beach here in Florida and out in it's so nice here. So I love running, but it really zaps my system, and I have to make sure to incorporate enough rest days and recovery days um, with my bodybuilding regimen.
so because of the bodybuilding, you want a good supply of protein. So you eat, as you mentioned, tempeh and tofu and TVP.
Yeah.
Um, do you watch your diet in terms of trying to avoid oil and sugar?
So only when it comes to calories, I try to remain within a calorie range for whatever my current goal is. For instance, if I'm in a bulking phase, I will try to get my calories to 250 to 500 calories surplus over my daily maintenance calories. Anything above that, and I'm just getting super fat very quick,
What's
right?
what's your daily maintenance?
About 1600.
Oh, that's all.
I don't weigh much. I'm 160 pounds. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now I can eat a little bit more than that and be fine, like a 2000 calorie diet. I'm not going to get super fat or anything if I'm active. But if I'm not doing any activity at all and I eat 1600 calories, I'll just stay the same weight forever. If I'm moving, walking, exercising, I have to eat more than that to maintain or gain. If I'm trying to lose weight and I'm in a cutting phase, I try to be in a 250 calorie to 500 calorie deficit below my maintenance calories. And that maintenance calorie number, it does change as my weight changes. So I have to, it's along a spectrum, it's along a curve. Um, if I bulk up to 170, 175 pounds, my maintenance calories are a little higher. If I'm down at 150 to 160 pounds, my maintenance calories are a little lower. And I just try to maintain a healthy body fat percentage. If I find myself going above 20% body fat, that's when I start reeling it in and cutting. cutting weight until I can get back down to 10 to 15% body fat, which is ideally where I feel the best.
Okay. Now, your a lot of your following is because of crypto,
Yes.
and the YaBonks YouTube channel is
Yeah,
mostly a crypto channel, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
that's
With
correct.
with the occasional farm sanctuary, Karma Farm Sanctuary, mention here and there,
Yeah.
video here and there. Um, and so, does crypto have anything to do? Can you connect it at all to veganism and bodybuilding?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I've never been asked that before. Ha, how do I tie it all together? I guess it's me. I'm the connecting part there. These
Okay.
are my passions and my interests. And my YaBonks channel, the brand is just me, right? I don't have a specific brand based on an industry or an interest specifically. It's whatever I'm interested in. And I'm interested in making money in crypto and DeFi and exploring that beautiful intersection on the forefront of decentralized finance and computer science. I think it's fascinating. And the opportunities are unbelievable. It's rife with scams and it's treacherous. Be careful. Okay, do your research, get educated. Don't just throw all your money into this and think you're going to be rich overnight. I have seen and heard horror stories, but get proper education first and test out the waters with small amounts of money to play around and really learn the ropes on all this stuff. Anyway, so crypto is my interest. So is animal rescue, veganism, and so is bodybuilding and fitness. And I have consulted with YouTube experts and stuff trying to get better at this. And they're always like, oh, you need to niche down. It'll be better for your engagement values and your growth. And I heard some, what's his name? I forget the guy's name, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a popular social media expert and guru and motivational speaker. And he said this one thing that stuck with me a few years ago. It's like the brand is you, right? The brand is you. You don't have to niche down or this and that. People are coming to watch your content because they like you. And you can post about whatever you like, and they'll watch it because they like you, right? And I always stuck with that. And it helped me not be too self-conscious about the content I post. If I want to post a goofy video of me and my friends lifting weights and just, goofing around in the gym and just having fun, like I'll post it. If I want to post a video of me frolicking in a field with some goats, I'm gonna post it. Like if I want to post a video about some weird crypto play that I'm in, I'm gonna post it with plenty of disclaimers whenever money is involved. I always have to give disclaimers. But that's how it all ties together on the YaBonks channel is it's just me and what I'm interested in.
All right, if you've ever wanted to show off your plant-based lifestyle and do it in style, here's your chance. We have some of the most amazing t-shirts, hats, accessories, coffee mugs, and more at shop.realmeneatplants.com. We have statement t-shirts that will bring a smile to everyone's face. I love the I want tofu tonight tee. Plus, we have podcast tees, real women eat plants gear, real kids eat plants, and real people eat plants, just in case men, women, and kids didn't cover it all. Yeah, we love you and love that you want to show off that healthy lifestyle of yours. Again, check out our high-quality gear at shop.realmeneatplants.com and enjoy.
All right. So, speaking of crypto,
Yes.
let me ask you some questions about this because I don't
course.
understand this stuff. So, that's my disclaimer. I don't understand this at all.
Yeah.
So, explain to me the whole concept. There are these crypto coins
Yeah.
like Bitcoin,
Yes.
and you have to mine it.
Yes.
So let's start with that. What the
Okay.
hell is mining?
So mining is a proof of work algorithm for Bitcoin and other proof of work protocols that forces people to put in a certain amount of work to mine the rewards that are emitted with each block of this blockchain. So every certain amount of time, a new block is created. And
What does that
it
mean? A
has,
block is created.
so imagine an accounting ledger, like a
Yeah.
spreadsheet or a database with all the data of financial transactions on the Bitcoin financial network. Every, this user's wallet sent this amount to this user's wallet on this time, there's this amount. All of that is recorded in each block. Now, each block is a snapshot in time of the entire blockchain. And then when the next block happens at a certain epoch or unit of time, a time period later, the next block is minted with any updates since then, plus all the history of the previous blocks. So it creates a chain. So here's a block, and it's connected to this past block, past block, past block. And you can actually use blockchain explorers to go look at any block in time and see exactly what happened. It's a public ledger. It's not good for money laundering. Contrary to what you might have heard from politicians in the past, cash is great for money laundering because you can't trace cash. If I give you $100 for drugs, nobody knows. Nobody's going to know about that. But if I gave you $100 in Bitcoin for drugs, I am going to jail at some point. Like, that is public record. That is a public ledger that is forever there in time. It can never be destroyed or deleted. It is immutable. So that is one of the core concepts of crypto, of Bitcoin, is immutability. You cannot mute it. You cannot censor it. It's out there forever. So anybody trying to do criminal activities on the Bitcoin blockchain, they're confused because they are leaving a public footprint that eventually, if you're smart enough and you're a forensic accountant or a software algorithm or AI system that is good enough at tracing back through the blockchain, this public ledger, you can see where all the money flowed. So all these people who did all these like early Bitcoin scams or stole Bitcoin, they almost always eventually get caught. Now there are other networks out, like their blockchain, or Bitcoin is just one blockchain network. There are other ones like Ethereum and Monero. Now Monero is a privacy-centric blockchain. So that one is used on the darknet for doing illicit activities. It's untraceable, and they're really big about privacy and untraceability, anonymity with their banking and finances, which has its merits, okay, but it can also be utilized for illicit activities to make it harder.
What are the merits?
Privacy, like, is it the Fourth Amendment where like we shouldn't have the government rifling through our papers and our desk, looking through our bank statements and stuff? Privacy in banking. Now, the Banking Privacy Act a few decades ago kind of took that away from a lot of us. But like, I don't want the government to know every single thing I ever bought, right? So there's that aspect of it. Privacy in our banking and financial transactions. But again, I'm more about Bitcoin specifically, and that's a public ledger. So that's super public, very hard to launder money through it. But that is from the public perception in the day-to-day. If you say Bitcoin, people think, oh, I've heard people use it for scams or this and that, but that's not the case at all anymore. This day and age, Bitcoin is becoming more prominent than ever, and it's because of the principles of hard money, sound money. So gold used to be the gold standard when it came to hard money, sound money that is hard to print. You can print dollars with a touch of a button. The Federal Reserve can print off $1 trillion and just dump it into the money supply, and we all get diluted, and the value of our dollars goes down even more, and we can purchase much less with the dollars we have. Hooray, right? That is a form of taxation through dilution. Now, Bitcoin is the solution to this. This is the solution to the 1913, December 23rd, Federal Reserve Act that was passed that has forever really messed us up long term, and our kids and grandkids and their grandkids. But Bitcoin is the solution to that. It is a wrecking ball that will completely smash the old system from 1913 that has been, in my opinion, a parasite onto all of our wealth and our ability to maintain and generate wealth for us and our families. So Bitcoin, you cannot, no government agency can just print new Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence ever. So it's a mad rush to get one of those 21 million Bitcoin. And because of this supply and demand, theoretically, the price of Bitcoin is going to just approach infinity in terms of US dollars or whatever other fiat currency that you pair against it. It acts it's really, the US dollar is approaching zero. Okay, it has been for a long time now, and Bitcoin maintains its value. So the value of one Bitcoin in terms of dollars, as the price of dollars go down, the value of a Bitcoin in dollars just goes up theoretically infinitely. And that's why we're at $100,000 Bitcoin right now, when a few years ago it was a couple dozen dollars, $100 or less. And that's how a lot of people made big fortunes, because they believed in these principles and they bought and held.
Now, I remember hearing a story of some guy who put something like 50 million in Bitcoin, and then he lost his password and he
Oh, it
lost $50
happens.
million.
It happens. Yeah.
That's pretty stupid, isn't it? I mean,
So
if
that's
all your wealth is, you need to
yeah.
have the password, and you lose the password, you lose all the wealth.
Not financial advice, but diversify, people. Diversify, okay? That is like
Diversify into a few different passwords. What do you do?
diversify into multiple assets. If you
But
know,
is
I'm not a
is that the case? You lose your password, you lose your money?
so yeah, that's one of the
That's insane.
that's one of the benefits of cryptocurrency is self-custody. You are your own bank. So for some people, that's great. For other people, that's not good, because they can't remember their Netflix password, let alone their Bitcoin seed phrase. And if they lose, like, say, their cold wallet here, this is a Ledger Nano S, and if they lose their seed phrase, they cannot access their wallet anymore if they were to lose it. Now, that is one of the big security benefits of Bitcoin. You can't. It's
But
really hard
if I
to
put
rob
my money in
somebody
the
of their
bank,
Bitcoin.
if I put my money in the bank and, I forget I forget where I put the bank records or something, I still have my
Yeah.
money in the bank,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yes.
But in this case, you forget your password. There's no other way you ever see that wealth again.
Now with a
And
bank,
where does it go?
it's on the blockchain. It is still there in
But
that account.
there isn't like a Mr. Bitcoin who can say, I'll find your money for you.
It's completely decentralized. So
But
you're
you're totally screwed if you lose your
you
password.
are the custodian of your own tokens. And if you lose
Why
them,
can't they
that's
have
on you.
why can't they have a company that also keeps a record of it?
So there are companies that are centralized, more like a bank. So with a bank, you can walk in and say, "Hey, I forgot my PIN number. I can't get to the ATM. Can you help me access my money?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, sure, sure." And you'll go through
Right.
the KYC process. You'll show your
Right.
identification, verify
Right.
it's you.
Now, in
There
other
are,
words,
yeah,
normal stuff.
the normal stuff what we're used to. And there are central exchanges that act as that intermediary before you go full decentralized finance. Now, decentralized finance is hardcore. You have to be vigilant, right? And you have to really use best security practices and best self-custody practices. Now, with a central exchange like Coinbase or Binance, they have customer support and they actually custody your tokens. So your tokens aren't in your own wallet per se. It's in like an account, like a bank account, like an account at Coinbase. And if you run into some issues, you can reach out to Coinbase and say, hey, help me. And they'll verify it's actually you. And they'll let you reset your password and use two-factor authentication and let you back in. So a lot of people use central exchanges as that stepping stone. The risk there is trusting your tokens, your Bitcoin and whatever other cryptocurrencies to a central exchange, a centralized authority that governs and custodies your funds. And that theoretically goes against the founding principles of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies,
Well,
which is
let me challenge this
independence
now.
and
All my life,
yeah.
when I had money, I put it in the bank, and there was never one time
Yeah.
when the bank said, "We know where your money is," and they took it. Right? I mean,
That's happened in other countries like Greece and other countries. Governments have confiscated people's bank accounts because the government needed money, and a lot of people
never
lost.
happened in the United States, I don't think.
Banks have gone under in the United States.
Well, when the banks go under, though, if your money is federally insured, you don't lose money.
Up to $100,000.
Higher than that, but yeah, there's a limit.
Is FINRA higher than is it higher
It's
than
a
$100,000
$250,000, I
now?
think.
Okay, so I'm still thinking about it 10 years ago or whenever, but okay, up to a certain limit though, yeah. But if you have 10 million in Bitcoin in a wallet, the only person that has access to it is you, for better or worse. But if somebody comes to try to rob you or steal that Bitcoin, they have to get your seed phrase, essentially, which is a 12 to 24 word phrase. And the only way they can get it is if they get that phrase out of you somehow. So if you're trying to get money from one country to another, say you're in a hostile theoretical environment where, as you're crossing the borders, the government border agents are stealing all your gold and cash before they let you through. This has happened in the past in Germany and other places, right? And this was a big issue where people lost their entire generations of wealth trying to get out of the countries with their gold. And it's hard to transport gold across borders or physically anywhere in space and time. But Bitcoin's different. You can have millions and millions of dollars in 12 to 24 phrases that you memorize, or give half the words to somebody else and half the words to somebody else, and then you put them together and it can access.
So if I wanted to steal your money in Bitcoin, I would have to try to guess your seed phrase.
Yes, and it's basically
so I might
impossible.
guess, I am a vegan named after a goose.
Oh no, I'm screwed. Oh no.
That's it, huh?
Oh man, I'm ruined. I gotta change that.
All right. Now I was watching your one of your YouTube videos. You had a fellow on, I think his name was Martini, and he had a kind of coin, I guess, called osmium, Mancini.
Yeah. So Mancini and his team are developing a new blockchain called the Osmium blockchain, and it is a fork of another popular blockchain.
Right. So I'm going to read to you what he said. Sure. I wrote it down, and we'll see if it can make sense. I'm sure it makes sense, but not to me. We believe that if we could create the ecosystem and if we figure out a smart way of linking the osmium blockchain to that ecosystem, it might be really interesting for everyone involved. So one, grab those coins. You could either mine them or you can buy them on the exchange. You could get a few coins really cheap in our community from time to time. We do various giveaways and we do contests. And of course, you could get even more coins if you decide to stack them in master notes and get master note rewards, which is probably the most efficient way of getting more coins if you already have a few. Does that make sense? And
it does.
How does that work?
So that type of blockchain that they're building is, I believe, a proof of stake blockchain. So I explained proof of work earlier, where you're mining with a computer that is crunching an algorithm as fast as it can. And that proof of work is through basically the amount of electricity and hashing power that it is crunching. Now, with proof of stake, it is theoretically a more energy efficient way to verify and find consensus on a blockchain. And what you do in this instance would be you buy a certain amount of the coins and then you stake them in a node or a master node in this case, and that mines or mints new tokens over time. So say
How
you
does it
buy
do
five.
that?
So those are the rewards that the stakers receive for staking and validating the blocks in the blockchain. So that is how it's done in terms of the blockchain governance. The nodes reach consensus on each new block that is formed, and the different blockchains out there, they can do these consensus algorithms differently. So it, like, a good book would be like Vitalik Buterin, Proof of Stake. He's the super genius who developed the Ethereum blockchain, and the Ethereum blockchain moved to proof of stake a few years ago. And basically, you'd buy a bunch of Ethereum, and then you could stake it. If you had enough, you could become a node owner, and
Node owner.
a node, NODE, like a
What
node
is a
in
node?
a node is a point in a network. So, like, if you imagine a graph network, each node is like a dot and they're connected by lines, vertices. So vertices connect each node in the network. Now, node in blockchain terminology would be, in this case, somebody who has staked a certain amount of Ethereum tokens, and they are running a node, which is a piece of software that validates the blockchain. And they are an official node owner that can do these validations if they have a certain amount of the token staked. And for their work validating the blockchain, they get a certain amount of Ethereum in return as rewards. So you can technically farm or earn tokens by staking them in a node-based system. So crypto and DeFi,
And
it takes
DeFi stands
hundreds
for decentralized finance.
decentralized finance. So this stuff, I mean, it can take hundreds of hours of research.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
should ordinary people be forced to do a PhD to understand where they're putting their money?
Well, no, I mean, if they don't understand it, they should not put their money in it in anything, right? Like, it's always best to do your own research and thoroughly understand anything before you invest money in it.
And
So,
all the
yeah.
energy it takes. I've heard statistics that it's like all the energy of Denmark or something goes into Bitcoin. Is this a good use of energy?
Yes, it's better than our current monetary system and is more energy efficient than our current monetary system.
Why is it more energy efficient?
All of the energy it takes to run the fiat system, all the banks, everything we run on right now takes more energy than the Bitcoin network. So Bitcoin network eventually will replace it, and be more
So I'm going
efficient.
to have a password?
Eventually. Now, the thing is, this stuff's getting so sophisticated that most people at some point won't even realize they're using it. It'll just be it'll be layers underneath.
I got to tell you, with the Apple stuff, I've got
Yeah.
an Apple password and I store it in, 7 different places. And
Yeah.
then the next time I need to sign on to Apple, I put in my password and they say, no, that's not your password. if that happens to me with my money, I'm going to be screwed.
Well, I think for a lot of people, they will be using centralized exchanges where it's very similar in terms of what they're used to, dealing with a centralized entity like a bank. Now, when will this paradigm shift completely overtake? I don't know. It could be decades, could be 100 years, but eventually, this is superior technology financially and will replace our current monetary system. That is my personal belief, and we've been witnessing it for the past 15 years.
Well, you're a vegan, so if it takes 100 years, you may be here to see it.
Hey, there we go.
There's the connection.
I hope so. And if that's the case, and I've got some of these coins tucked away, hopefully in 100 years, I'll be a billionaire and can create the biggest animal sanctuary on Earth.
Now, if you want to cash out of Bitcoin, can you do it like that?
Yeah, yeah. So I use
And then what do you get when you cash out? Do you get a check in dollars?
it just goes straight to your bank account
In dollars.
in dollars. Yeah.
So
So
doesn't that
yeah.
mean that the dollar is the superior currency? Because you don't cash out of dollars into Bitcoin, you cash out of Bitcoin into dollars.
In terms of current usage, yes, but in terms of principles, Bitcoin is a far superior money than anything else. The current fiat currency system that we're using, it is ingrained in our day-to-day lives. It's going to take time to replace that. And we are seeing even like the Federal Reserve and other central banking systems developing central banking digital currencies, CBDCs. These are going to be their versions to try to co-opt the Bitcoin movement and say, look, we're into digital currencies too, except it'll still be centralized, and it's going to be their Hail Mary, and will give them an incredible amount of control and invasion of privacy over all of us, for beyond what we already have. But Bitcoin will eventually, and the other decentralized financial networks will eventually overtake those as well.
Now, is this space of crypto enthusiasts more male than female? It seems like I'm always seeing young men getting excited about this, not a lot of women. Am I right?
So early on, it was very heavily male dominated, but in the investor groups I'm in and different crypto groups, there are a lot more females nowadays. So I would say it's really it's becoming more female friendly for sure. But it was kind of like a boys club. It seemed like I'd be in all these chat rooms on Discord and Telegram, and it was just a lot and Twitter, and it was very male dominated. And if there were females there, they would kind of fly under the radar because you get a bunch of males who are anonymous in a chat room. They're going to be they could be inappropriate or weird, and I run big communities in Discord and Telegram for crypto, and I've had to deal with people like that and ban them from my servers just because they were being inappropriate towards other members. But there are a lot of females there nowadays, actually.
Okay. Well, the vegans skew female, as you know.
That is true. Lucky for us.
Yeah. So, my attitude is, I think that the fact that vegans skew female is yet another proof that it's the best diet, because it's usually the women who are right and the men who are wrong.
I see. I found that out in my first marriage. Yeah.
In your first marriage.
Oh, my only marriage, but my last marriage, yeah. The woman is always right. I learned that one. Yes.
Okay.
Apparently not well enough though.
So, do you have any vegan related goals beyond the sanctuary?
So any way I can help animals and people and the people that help animals is what I will do in the ways I find most effective for my own personal set of skills and talents. So whether that's influencing others to understand that they can be strong and fit on a vegan diet or lifestyle, plant-based diet and a vegan lifestyle, then I think being that role model is a great way that I can influence a lot of people. And I try not to be too pushy with it. I try to just set a good example and just make it seem cool and fun. I don't shove it down people's throats. If they ask me about it, I'll tell them whatever they want to know. And then I'll just live my best life and set a great example of being a plant-based athlete and a vegan entrepreneur and philanthropist.
Well, good for you on that. And do you feel that it's building? Are you meeting more and more vegans?
Oh, it's crazy. I'm sure you noticed it too. Since I became vegan, when I first went vegan, my social life was like a ghost town. It's like, where'd everybody go? Right. And meeting other people in the vegan community back then was tricky. I would go to vegan meetups in Ohio, where I'm from, and there would be like 5 or 6 people, and that was it. And I would drive 45 minutes to the next biggest town, and there would be like a dozen people, and that was it. Then social media really became a bigger part of my life, and once I got into the online communities, I started seeing how many other vegans are out there doing really amazing things. Like your podcast, all like the superstars you've had on your show. It's amazing to see how many champions there are in this community. And it seems every event, we have these veg fests down here, and I table these now sometimes to raise donations for the sanctuary or to help out friends in their businesses. They grow every single quarter. So every year I'll go to maybe 4, 5, or 6 of these, and everyone is bigger than the last. I'm having trouble finding parking now, Glenn. Like it's incredible. And there are more vegan businesses than ever. And this is just the beginning. We're still right at the beginning of this. And to see this rate of growth, which is explosive, is incredible. And I think over the next decade or so, we're going to see a complete shift where this is going to be more and more mainstream.
So, what do you think the path is to ending animal agriculture and turning the world vegan?
If I knew the answer to that, I don't know if we'd be sitting here having this conversation, right?
You'd be doing it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question. And I think the answer is it takes time. Any movement or paradigm shift takes time. Nothing happens overnight. And something as big as replacing a system based on traditions, cultural traditions, and personal habits takes time. So it might take a few generations for us to see the tides completely shift and these systems be replaced.
So what happens first? Give this some thought. What happens first? Everyone gives up eating meat and starts eating tempeh and healthy foods, or everyone pays for the tempeh with Bitcoin. What happens first?
The first one. The
Okay.
first one, yes.
That's good for me, man, because I don't want to lose my password and then I won't be able to afford the tempeh.
Yes.
And I'm going to get hungry because I forgot my password. I don't
Now,
want people to go hungry because they forgot their password.
some of the richest people in crypto forgot their seed phrase and then found it 5 or 10 years later and realized they were now multimillionaires because if they had their seed
That's just
phrases,
wacko.
if they had their seed phrases and could access their crypto, they would have sold when it 2 or 3x, right? They would have been like, oh wow, I doubled or tripled my money, I'm gonna sell. But since they lost their seed phrase, they couldn't access it. It went up 1,000x instead. And then they got $100 million now, and
Well, let me
then
ask you
yeah.
this. If you hide your seed phrase, let's say under your shoe in your closet,
Yeah,
and I break into your closet and lift up your shoe and find that seed phrase, can I steal your Bitcoin?
absolutely. Yes.
Oh man. So it isn't so safe.
There are
Somebody hacks into
techniques.
someone's computer if they've got it stored there, and
Do not store it on your computer. Do not do that
so
because
you can't
hackers
put it in your
can.
computer. If you
No.
store it in your house, somebody could break into your house. I don't see how this is as safe as money
You
in the
want to
bank.
stamp it. You want to stamp your seed phrase onto metal plates. Okay, so
I think you
get.
want to have it tattooed onto your ass is what you want to do.
Then your next partner is gonna run
Yeah,
off with
yeah. I
your
suppose
money.
there's a risk there too. You see, it makes no
Diversification is a
sense.
good idea. So put half of it, stamp half of it onto a metal plate, stamp the other half onto another metal plate, and put one in one bank in a bank lockbox in some bank. Go open another bank account somewhere else, put it in a bank lockbox in a different bank.
Okay, one of those banks burns down and you're screwed.
No, it's a titanium plate. It'll survive the fire.
But somebody may find it and they'll have half your seed money and they'll
They
try to make
can't
a
do
deal
anything
with you.
without the other half.
Yeah, they won't be able to take your money, but you won't be able to either.
Yeah. So I recommend making multiple copies on titanium plates. You can get them on Amazon for like 8, 9, $10. Get a few of them, and you can get the little stamps and just or the little things to etch them in, and they will survive super high temperature fires. They're corrosion resistant. They won't rust. They'll last hundreds or thousands of years. And put like even a third of the words on one, a third on the other, a third on the other, and get a few sets of them, and have one set with a family member here, have another set in a bank lockbox over here, and keep the other third with you, and have duplicates, have redundancies, but never in any way that somebody could get all the pieces of the puzzle.
Now the other thing is there must be, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of these coins now there was Bitcoin and Ethereum and
Oh,
this
it's
fellow
wild
has
now. Yeah.
osmium
Yeah.
and all these coins and it all has no worth unless other people think it has worth.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you're putting
that's
your money into something, and if it turns out that other people decide to buy it because it's marketed well or something, then it has
yeah.
worth. And if other people don't buy it, it has no worth.
Yes, it's a very
And
high
that's a good
risk.
system.
In terms of investing, it's a high risk, highly volatile investment sector. And I would caution anybody who is trying to get in here to make fast money to rethink things, to think things over slowly, and don't go all in on anything, because a lot of people out here will try to peddle romantic notions of fast money, get rich overnight schemes. And those are almost always scams or pump and dump schemes. Be careful. Don't go all in. Diversify your assets. Do not use the mortgage or the rent payment in crypto. I've seen people do that. They're like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll double the money. And then it doesn't work that way. If you're chasing get rich quick schemes, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose your money. I don't give financial advice. I just say what I do. I am mostly in Bitcoin. I am about 70% in Bitcoin. I'm about 15% in layer 2 network coins, or layer 1 network coins, about 10% in layer 2 network coins, and then about 5% in other altcoins, which are which are a lot smaller market cap. I have only 5% in these more speculative coins that might 20 or 100x, but they could go to zero overnight. And if I only have a 0.5% of my portfolio in one of these and it goes to zero, I'm not, jumping out a window or anything like that. And so I keep most of my crypto portfolio in the bigger, more stable, more time and community vetted and trusted coins like Bitcoin, and then like Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Sui, AVAX, things like that. And also, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, right? I have people with multi-million-dollar portfolios that hire me to to coach them in DeFi and to just go over what they're doing and let them know if they're exposing themselves to extra risks. And you'd be surprised. I've seen people with tens of thousands of dollars in the dumbest coins you've ever heard of. Like, I I mean,
And
these
they again,
meme
they have
coins.
no value unless anybody, you see, when
Yeah.
somebody buys a stock, it's a claim on the company's earnings. In this case, you buy a coin that doesn't really exist in the real world, and it has no value unless somebody else thinks it has more value when they buy it. What they call
And
the greater
and
fool theory, is as it's been called.
and there are other potential pitfalls if you don't know how to look into or research different tokens. Maybe the founder or the team has access to 90% of the tokens. And at some point, they just dump all their tokens on the market, take all the actual value tokens, like if it's paired against Ethereum or something, they dump all their crap tokens, take all the Ethereum out, everybody goes to zero overnight. Rug pull, right? There are so many ways developers and teams can rug pull these projects unfairly. So beyond just general market supply and demand, like you were talking about, these psychological phenomena, there are also ways that people are scamming, rug pulling, and stealing and defrauding people out here. And that's one of the things I have made videos about early on, about how to identify these, how to evaluate a project before you buy their tokens, just to see if there are any red flags that might be a potential risk vector for some kind of a rug pull later on.
All right. Well, Alex, I could say that it's a pleasure getting to know you. An hour later now, I understand you better. I know what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing for the animals and for the vegans. And I admire the bodybuilding, and I still
Thank you.
don't understand the crypto stuff.
We're early. We're early to the space. Most people don't understand it. So you just got an early glimpse into what's to come in that industry. We're on the beginning of that S curve, that hockey stick the adoption of a new technology. Just like veganism, we're at the beginning of the S curve. Eventually, it's going to go exponential with adoption and then level out as it becomes
And you don't think there's going to be a
normalized.
crypto crash?
There will always be bear markets. So there will always be corrections. And in crypto, especially because of its highly volatile nature, these can often be severe and drastic. So what goes up oftentimes must come down. And we have seen 70%, 80, 90% corrections from a bull market to a bear market in crypto assets every 4 years. I mean, it's almost like clockwork. So if you can time the cycles relatively well with dollar cost averaging, dollar cost average in, dollar cost average out at the right times, it can be lucrative. But if you're like most people and you are driven by FOMO, or the fear of missing out, a lot of people end up buying high and then selling low and getting wrecked. So be very careful of the market cycles in crypto. They are extremely volatile.
Tempeh, on the other hand, will hold its value, especially if you keep it in the freezer.
Yes, TVP
And
even better, shelf stable. I buy 25-pound bags of it. It lasts me a month. It's great.
yeah, so that's our advice. Stick with the vegan stuff. Alex, we will put in the, oh, do you want to talk about your event on December 14th?
Thank you. I would love to. So right now we are doing a big fundraiser for Karma Farm Sanctuary, which, as you heard, is our 501c3 nonprofit charity here in Micanopy, Florida Animal Rescue and Animal Sanctuary. And we are doing a fundraiser right now called Steps for Sanctuaries. And me and my good buddy, John Thomas, the bodybuilding vegan, are going to live stream us walking over 100,000 steps all around the Tampa, Florida area, going to a bunch of different vegan restaurants and businesses that are helping sponsor this fundraiser. It's going to be amazing. The fundraiser is going on now through December 14th. So please donate, and every dollar donated now through the 14th will be added up towards our goal of $10,000 for Karma Farm Sanctuary. Every dollar goes to animals in need that came from animal cruelty cases. Nobody takes salaries at Karma Farm Sanctuary. It's all volunteer and donation driven. It's a huge community effort, and we would love for you all to be a part of that community too.
All right. Thank you, Alex. We will
Thank you,
put
Glenn.
links to your accounts, including YaBonks YouTube
Yeah.
channel, in the show notes. And let's stay in touch, my friend.
I would love to. Thank you so much, Glenn. It's been a real pleasure.
This has been the Glenn Mercer Show, where everyone listening turns vegan, regains their health, and annoys their friends and relatives. Find us on YouTube at The Glenn Mercer Show and across all your major podcast platforms. Don't forget to subscribe.